Todd? Hey, this is just a shot in the dark, but if you guys ever hear about any drum instructor positions opening up anywhere, like at a college, level, so. For once, yeah. Hey, how you doing? Good. Good to see you. Sans the red. How have you been? Nice. Yeah. It's easy to. Yeah. Started again in January. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, George did. George did. Four, yeah, there was four in the room, and there was Kenny. Yeah,
Check, 1, 2, 1, 2, check.
yeah, we'll
Hey,
check.
hey, hey, hey. Are we just doing mains? Do we have a possibility of monitor up here? Check, 1, 2. Spacing here going down front. Hold up. Check, 1, 2, 2. There it is. Much better. A little bit more. And less in the house. I think there you go, right there. Stop right there. And take you down in the house. Take you down in the house, yeah. Hey, 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 hey. Still loud. Another notch down in the mains. Hey, 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 hey. Can you hear that? It's really loud. Very loud. Ooh. Hi, Jim. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey. Check it out. Are we working on that monitor? Okay. Check, 1, 2, 1, 2, check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. If the nights were cold and the stars were down, and you hug yourself on the cold, cold ground, you wake in the morning in a stranger's coat, no one would you see, and you ask yourself, who could it be? One solitary voice to speak out in such a tree. It's hard to say, I hate to say, but it's probably you. When the bell is empty
gun safety. Appreciate it so much. Wow, that's cool. The fundamentals of this, that if somebody owns a gun, they should be trained how to use it safely, makes so much sense. The idea that there's a full background check completed before you acquire a gun makes a whole lot of sense. And not having massive magazines that carry up to 50 or more bullets, those are only really good for walking in a room and trying to kill everybody in it. So these three fundamental parts that are part of Measure 114, I hope the citizens of the state will understand that this is an important step forward. I was proud to endorse it and talk about it all over the state, and I hope it wins tonight. Thank you very much.
That's right. Senator Merkley, remember to drink lots of water tonight. Hydrate. So, I don't even know what time it is. That clock is so wrong. It hurts. It's 7:17. We'll wait for Pastor Mark to come back up. Let's do some music. Let's start with another sting. He sounds so hard. Blood will flow when flesh and steel are one, drying in the colors of the evening sun. Tomorrow's rain will wash the stains away, but something in our minds will always stay. Perhaps this final act was meant to clinch a lifetime's argument, drying in the colors of the evening sun. Tomorrow's rain will wash the stains away, but something in our minds will always stay. Perhaps this final act was meant just to clinch a lifetime's argument that nothing comes from violence, nothing ever could, for all those born beneath an angry star. Whoa, lest we forget how very fragile we are. Oh, 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 on and on, the rain will fall like tears from a star, like tears from a star. On and on, the rain will say how fragile we are, how fragile we are, how fragile we are, how fragile we are, so fragile. Right here in Oregon tonight, waiting on others to see the truthful light. We're fragile, oh, we're fragile. Speaking for the fragile ones, they're waiting on justice, waiting on peace. They're waiting on love to speak tonight. When will the violence cease? We're so fragile, we're fragile, fragile we are. Just like tears from a star, we show how fragile. When steel meets the body, there's only one result. Fragile, oh so very fragile. Ooh, oh, oh, oh. Ooh, ooh, oh, oh, oh. Ooh, oh, oh, oh. Ooh, oh, oh, oh. We're fragile. Thank you. That one was written by the great Gordon Sumner. We know him as Sting, and he wrote an entire album of justice songs that spoke to the Augusto Pinochet regime in Chile at the time, where people were being just disappeared. Families, schools, courts, cities were being destroyed by violence. And we all are in that same situation right now. We're all being destroyed by violence, by gun violence. And I want to thank you all for being part of this march forward, this movement forward to peace and justice, and let peace prevail, let peace reign. Let us do this in a peaceful manner, but let us do it in a decisive manner. We have to get this done. This next song was written by a musician by the name of Rachelle Farrell, and I first heard it in a friend's studio. He said, "You got to hear this lady sing," and it was a revelation. She actually pretty much changed my direction as far as vocalization was concerned. She has a freedom of expression that I had not heard in a vocalist in a long, long time. And this is called Peace on Earth, and it asks the question that we must answer in our own lives, but also in our world. How can we have peace in the Middle East when there's none at home? How can we have peace there's none at home. How can we have understanding in the land when there's none in the woman, and there's none in the man? How can we heal the wounds of the world if we cannot heal our own? And where does this peace on earth begin if not in the home? Where do we go now? Do we let the devil in, or do we get up and fight? Surely we know how to conquer all our fears, bring an end to the violence, bring an end to the tears. How can we heal the wounds of the world if we cannot heal our own? And where does this peace on earth begin if not in the home? Well, there's too much talk about it, and too many walk without it. Tell me, where is love? Where is God in your life? To my left, a woman abuses her children. To my right, somebody's beating their wife. Tell me, where is the love? Where is God in your life? How can we heal the wounds of the world if we cannot heal our own? And where does this peace on earth begin if not in the home? Tell well, there's too much talk about it, too many walk without it. Tell me, where is the love? Where is God in your life? To my left, a woman abuses her children. To my right, somebody's beating their wife. Tell me, where is the love? Where is God in your life? How can we heal the wounds of the world if we cannot heal our own? And where does this peace on earth begin Thank you. Isn't that the question? I have a feeling we're going to answer part of it tonight. Yes. I'm feeling pretty... Of course, Wyoming. Yes. All right. Shapiro's gonna win, you guys. Woo. And it's quite all right to stand up and cheer if you see a candidate that you wanted to see leading in the polls.
Yes.
Yeah, buddy! I think we gotta have an election dance. Yep. That Fetterman's, he's one wild and crazy guy. But he's gonna win. Pennsylvania knows what's best. Yes, George. If you sell enough albums, you can run for office.
That whole side is just like, they got Ted Nugent, Mike DePillo. There you go, that's the GOP.
Right now. From a distance, the world looks blue and green, and the snow-capped mountains white. From a distance, the ocean meets the stream, and the eagle takes to flight. From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. It's the voice of hope, it's the voice of peace, it's the voice of every man. From a distance, we all have enough, and no one is in need. And there are no guns, no bombs, no diseases, no hungry mouths to feed. From a distance, we are instruments marching in a common band, and we're playing songs of hope, playing songs of peace. They are the songs of every man. And God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us from a distance. From a distance, you look like my friend, even though we are at war. And from a distance, I just cannot comprehend what all this fighting is for. From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. It's the hope of hopes, it's the love of love, it's the heart of every man. Yes, it's the hope of hopes, it's the love of loves. This is the heart of every man. And God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us from a distance. My God is watching us. Oh yes, He's watching us. God is watching us from a distance. Oh, yes, He is. Oh, yes, He is. Thank you. I have felt that from the beginning. And our eyes were watching God, and He was watching us. And there's been a lot of road traveled. Part of the theme song that you're going to hear tonight, that was written by my friend Todd Marston, incorporates part of the anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. And our organization that began this journey 4.5 years ago, we took the name Lift Every Voice Oregon from that anthem because we wanted to make sure that everyone had a chance to make their voice heard on this issue of gun violence. And I want to thank all the volunteers, all of the canvassers, all of the phone bankers who had anything to do with making certain that this petition made the ballot as ballot measure 114. Yes, I'm 114. Ho! Until I see my shepherd, we're just gonna keep doing music. How's that? Okay. I think it should be in there. Yep. This next song, I actually asked to have it transcribed for me to become part of my repertoire. A lot of this music in these books up here, I've been singing for the past 30 to 40 years, and we've just had them cleaned up and revamped and made more legible, shall I say, for our eyes and hearts to follow along together. But I started singing this one with the group Tall Jazz. If you've been in the jazz scene in Portland, you've known about Tall Jazz since the early 1980s. And I was introduced to them by one of our jazz patronesses. Her name was Alice Brown. And if you remember Alice was this tiny little powerhouse of jazzosity. What's it I'm gonna say? She was a jazzer. Alice would be everywhere. She'd drive up into Washington. She'd drive down to San Francisco, and I believe she would have driven until she left this vein. But her son took her keys from her and took her down to Eugene to keep an eye on her until her eyes finally closed in peaceful death, we hope. But I know that Alice is watching over us and is part of our lives. She actually help usher me into the jazz scene in Portland by introducing me to the great Don Latarski in the first place. But you were there. Kevin was part of that group that I stumbled into Remo's, wide-eyed and frightened out of my wits. I was so scared. But this is a song from, it's a movie theme actually, and it was made famous by the great Karen Carpenter. It's from the movie Bless the Beast and Children. Bless the beasts and the children, for in this world they have no voice, they have no choice. Bless the beasts and the children, bless the beasts and the children, give them shelter from a storm, keep them safe. Bless the beasts and bless the children, give them shelter from a storm, keep them safe. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. How many campaigns have a chief petitioner who can sing like Marilyn Keller tonight?
Marilyn, you already introduced who's on with you? I could do it, but you go ahead, please.
I want to introduce the Augustana Jazz Quartet tonight. Myself, Marilyn Keller, your vocal instrument. On piano, we have George Mitchell. On bass, Kevin Dietz. And sitting in on drums tonight, Brent Follis.
All right, and so welcome tonight. We're here for a very historic night. We wanted to have it here because we know our synagogues, our temples, our mosques, our longhouses, our churches, people of just goodwill all over the state have been working on this, and all the young people. So we're going to have a treat now that's going to take us up to the 8 o'clock hour. We're going to have a choir that practices every Tuesday night, many Grant High School graduates and others. And they're going to be introduced from one of our interns. We have a lot of high school interns who've worked on this in the last 5 years. And we have one coming from New York tonight? Connecticut. Well, please, let's hear from Connecticut. She's coming in to introduce the choir.
As you can tell, I am a high school student. But I do have someone on the phone who would like to say a few words. Catherine?
Hi, my name's Catherine Curry, and I'm a volunteer for Lift Up Your Voice Orchid. I'm calling from Wesleyan University in Connecticut, and I want to thank all of the young people who've been involved throughout the campaign. I worked on the campaign with my twin sister as an intern, and we hope we win tonight. Now I would like to introduce my old director, John Eisman, and some of Grant alumni to perform.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Eisman. I'm the director and founder of E-Media Chamber Choir. We're so glad to be here tonight. We're going to do a piece that we performed last Friday night as the closer of our concert. It's called Hands by a woman named Jocelyn Hagen. It's a piece with no words, and that's intentional. It's about how people who might not speak any language common amongst themselves can come together over music, and they can grasp each other with their hands to show their solidarity for each other. So thank you all for having us this evening. Please.
Ah
The jail doors opened and they walked out. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. We faced jail and violence too, but we knew the Lord was gonna see us through. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. The only chain that a man can stand is the chain of hand in hand. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. I've got my hand on the gospel plow. Wouldn't take nothing from a journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Ain't never been to heaven, but I've been told the streets up there are paved with gold. Keep your eyes on the prize. You got to hold on. Oh, hold on. My people, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Oh, keep your eyes on the prize. You got to hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. We're gonna win this thing tonight. Everyone in Medio Choir. Whoa. These walls are blessed tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can't tell that I love singing along with harmony and other voices, can you? Let's talk. Come on.
All right, we have a statement by, if you all remember, Dr. King's 6 principles of nonviolent direct action have been very important to us. And they aren't going to put the numbers up for about another 5 or 6 minutes, so we want to hear from a prophetic voice. If you remember, Dr. King was only 26 when he led the Montgomery bus boycott. Well, we have a 24-year-old leader in this state who's the head of the Eugene Springfield NAACP, Miles Pendleton. And Miles is going to share a few words. We have a big delegation. Eugene rocked it this year, all the way down to the California border. Miles, say some words to get us ready to start looking at results, but inspire us like you always do, my brother. Introduce your mother, too.
Indeed. How we doing, everybody? I said, how are we doing? Come on now. Let's get some energy going. Awesome. Well, it is great joy to be here together once again to celebrate this moment, to celebrate this opportunity that's before us, and just to celebrate and honor all the work that has been poured in to getting us here. Can we give a round of applause for all the volunteers, all the petitioners, the community leaders, the drafters of this petition? This is a phenomenal, phenomenal moment that has been a culmination of tireless toil and work that has been poured forward to this moment. And most of all, it has been poured forward in love. Amen. Poured forward in love. We talk about this idea of a high road campaign, what it entails to commit ourselves to something greater than any individual, to something greater than any one community, to something greater than any one moment. And it's again this idea of love, common decency, mutual respect, understanding, and a commitment to bettering each of our individual circumstances by first pouring into the whole. And so as a young kid, I grew up during the Obama moment. When he was elected, I was 4th grade, and when I graduate, when he left, I was a senior in high school. And so with that, I grew up with this idea of hope and change. Hope and change. Not as just some principle that we commit ourselves in times of difficulty, not in something that we commit ourselves in times just of struggle, but in something that we pour into and that we use to inspire and catalyze actions every day, every moment, and in each and every opportunity we have to do right, we pour forward in that way. And that's what this moment here today is about. Pouring forward that love, pouring forward that hope, and pouring forward that commitment to change. Most of all, when it's not convenient but difficult. You know, oftentimes all of us heard different rhetoric about how difficult this was going to be. You're going to need to raise this much money. You're going to need to have this many volunteers. You're going to need to convince this many legislators, this, that. All we heard were obstacles. All we heard were challenges. But as I was preparing for today and as I was thinking on everything that has transcended and cascaded into the here and now, I was on social media and I came across a post that talk about this idea of challenge, challenges we face in everyday life. They said it's difficult regardless of what station, regardless of what place we find ourselves in life. To be physically fit is difficult, but also to struggle with poor health is difficult. To get good grades is challenging, but it also is challenging to find yourself in a place of struggle. And so what's most important in life is not to wait to that moment of convenience, not to wait to that moment of comfort, but instead to pick our challenge, to choose what we want to do, how we want to lift our voice, and what we want to compel and make real based on the agency each and every single one of us has. And so that's what tonight is, and we should be celebrating. The last time I was here, I said the same, because regardless of what happens tonight, I've never been more confident that we will win, but regardless what happens tonight, across the ballot nationwide, the one thing we cannot be robbed of is joy. The one thing we cannot be robbed of is hope, and the one thing that we cannot be robbed of is our commitment to making change real, because all of those, hope, change, and most of all joy, each and every single one of us have the opportunity and the authority to give it away, and it is the one thing in life that once given, it can never be brought back. And so we need to hold ourselves to that hope. Yeah. We need to hold ourselves to that joy. And we need to keep pouring it forward. So I'm excited here tonight. The early returns are great. Our measure is up right now as it currently stands. It's early, but 55 to 41. 55 to 41. And so let's commit to joy, let's commit to each other, and let's commit to community in this moment. And again, this is but one moment, this is but one ensuing victory, and after it's going to be all of us to figure out how do we transcend this and carry it forward. I thank you all, thank everybody who has taken part in this, and let's be happy tonight. Let's celebrate, and let's do so with enthusiasm.
All right, Miles Pendleton, you got us warm, ready. We're ready. We have an anthem that was written specifically for this, and then we'll go to sound in a few minutes. But I think you want to be centered for what we're going to hear tonight. And we're going to be here for a little while. So Marilyn Keller, who's doing this with you, an original piece written specifically for this campaign, for Measure 114. There's not another campaign that has a theme song. Here it is.
Everyone, this is Todd Marston. He is one of Oregon's leading jazz pianists, composers, and he teaches at Portland State University. I met Todd several years ago at a nightclub gig. I think, was it Tavern on Cruise was the first time we worked together. After that, our paths crossed several other times, but one of the more striking times was during the Bernie Sanders campaign. And Todd and I got together and collaborated on a piece for the Bernie Sanders campaign called Not Me, Us. So if you ever go on to YouTube, look up Todd Marston, Not Me, Us, and now Todd Marston, Yes on 114. I came to him with this idea, and within 2 weeks, he not only had the piece written and arranged, but had worked on, thank you, had worked on getting musicians together and arranging studio time at Falcon Studios over on East Burnside at 15th Avenue. And we got in there, and how many hours did we, not a lot, maybe 2 hours, we knocked this baby out. And that's what's out there on the E-waves right now, and please share it widely and just let the world know just what it is we're trying to do with this ballot measure. Today, tonight, the state of Oregon is going to pass the only common sense gun regulation on the ballot in the country. And we'd like to thank you, Lift Every Voice Oregon, and your volunteers and staff, and all of you who helped us get this far. Let's just keep the spirit high until we actually pass Measure 119. The 114, what am I saying? Stoneman Douglas and Sandy Hook, all this suffering, it's hard to look and see that if we don't take steps to change, what we'll get is just more of the same. Say their name, close the loopholes on background checks. For our children we must protect. Till bed sleep. Now I'm asking you to talk to me. Let us activate democracy peacefully. Measure 114. Come on, clap your hands. Yes, on 114. We are asking, please, vote yes on 114. Lift every voice and sing, vote yes on 114. Limit capacity of magazines. Make training requisite to receive your permit. Fund personnel who will tell the truth. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading a path through the blood of the slaughtered. Measure 114. Yes on 114. 114. We are asking, please, vote yes on 114. I know you did. Resident composer here, Todd Marston. Find him, find his music. He's all online. Thank you, thank you.
Marilyn Keller, chief petitioner, jazz, sing all over the world. The pianist, George Mitchell, earlier has been Diana Ross's pianist for 35 years. We can hear her every Sunday night here. Brady and Luke, two Grant High School leaders. The person who started the club they're part of, they're co-presidents of, is going to come on later. Ben Aboshi is going to come on from Alabama, actually, where he's going to college. But I want those two to come up and say a word, and then we're going to go live to the newscast to hear what they're saying about what's going on. But our young leaders have been the core of this. I cannot underscore this enough. Rabbi Kahana will really let you know that in a few minutes, and a couple other speakers. But the young leaders were the ones that spoke up, and we've had a lot of interns, a lot of volunteers. We have an 11-year-old back there. We'll make sure he gets introduced in a few minutes. Rise up and shout your name. Naomi, yes. At 11 years old, she had an article in the Bend newspaper and some others, and wrote lots of postcards to people. Thank you for your leadership. And now Luke and Brady. I know, Luke, you voted for the first time as a senior in high school. Come on up and say a few words, and then we're going to go live to the television. The young lady, they headed up the walkout a week and a half ago at 1:14 in the afternoon at Grant High School and across the state.
Hi everyone, my name is Luke.
And hi everyone, my name is Brady.
We are the co-presidents of the Grant High School Students for Gun Law Reform Club. Our first year as co-presidents. And in addition to working as presidents of the club, we both just turned 18 and voted yes on Measure 114. Well, it's been a long time coming. I remember last year when I first joined the Gun Reform Club on a whim, we were thrown right into the action, collecting signatures out in the rain, taking our time on weekends to be in the front of stores and just trying to get everyone to sign Initiative Petition 17. And it seems like it's been so long since then and we've come so far, and I'm so excited that Measure 114 has made it on the ballot, and we couldn't have done it without everyone's help, including the students, but also all the wonderful adult volunteers. And we're just so excited that we have now the chance to vote yes on Measure 114. So, Brady, you want to say any words?
Yeah, first thing I want to say is Oregon needs this because it's common sense gun legislation. And, you know, for too long and too much gun violence and school shootings have happened, and we got to put a stop to it. We got to. And, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for all the hard work, and yeah, let's go. Yes on 114. Here we go. We're almost to the finish line.
We're going to go live to the newscast for a few minutes, and then Malay Ramos is going to come up and share her story, one of the great leaders of this movement as well. So let's go live for about 10 minutes. If you need to run downstairs to get a refreshment, you're welcome to do so. But come back up.
And looking at 15 and a half to about 40 as the first And I think Washington, and what's unique about Washington is counties just report seems once, at least Clark does, once a night or once a day. So those are the first results coming out now. We'll watch as that tick up. There were questions, Rebecca, and maybe you can speak to this. I think it was something in the Daily Beast, watching this race, and obviously a lot of folks wondering if this would be Patty Murray's last term, saying, Tiffany Smiley is the perfect candidate for the Republican Party if she were in a different state.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and Tiffany Smiley has done a great job of bringing up her name, her message, the accountability that Democrats need to be held to, according to the Republicans, and run a really aggressive and very strong campaign. But again, it's hard for voters to change their mind. I mean, the numbers were closer walking into this campaign than they're showing tonight, and we'll see what those results look like. But a lot of folks thought this could be the end of Patty Murray's career. But I think Tiffany has done a great job bringing a lot of national attention to conversations and topics that should be addressed. Whether you win or not, at the end of the day, you've made the news. You've been part of the conversation in a pretty credible way, even if she doesn't win. So I think that is an environment and an energy we're seeing towards candidates that will continue to happen. Same with Joe Kent. Huge surprise for him to beat Jamie Herrera Butler. We talked about it forever. Len and I battled back and forth on whether that was going to happen or not. And Joe sneaked it out, but voters at the end of the day say, well, we kind of like your style. We like the energy of something new, but we also want to vote for people that we think we can trust. And sometimes that's just the way that it looks.
We'll talk about a lot of money spent in the Senate race in Washington, $36 million. It's
incredible,
probably
isn't
above
it?
that. Senator Murray spent $21 million of that, and that was twice what she spent in her campaign in 2016. So that is definitely a race we'll keep an eye on.
What's really interesting, though, is in past elections here, and Rebecca, you've done a lot of these, and you've been a candidate, and I sort of want to talk to you, Sushila, in a little bit and see what's it like as these numbers are coming in. What does it actually feel like as a candidate? But what's interesting is in past elections with Patty Murray, this might have been called already, right? You're not seeing Associated Press project a winner in that race here. You're not seeing the Oregonian or others, the Seattle Times, project a winner in that race because Tiffany Smiley is a strong challenger, and this has been a neck, I won't call it a neck and neck race, but she has been gaining on Murray through the summer and so on and so forth. So that, in essence, those first results also speak volumes, right?
Talk about a race that was called. We want to show you a race that has been called. Oregon Labor Commissioner. This is a nonpartisan statewide race, the only other statewide race besides the Oregon governor's race between two women. And this was sort of a rematch from the primary. But even though it's nonpartisan, they kind of fell into partisan camps where Tina Kotek had endorsed Christina Stevenson and Christine Drazen had endorsed Sherry Hout from Bend. So, but it looks like the new labor commissioner replacing Val Hoyle, the current labor commissioner, who is now running in the 4th congressional district against Alex Skarlatos, and hopefully we'll have some results from that later. But again, we do have one race called in the Oregon Labor Commissioner.
Well,
take 1 out of 90.
Right,
Take
exactly.
it. Like,
well, let's go back
it
to the
is.
Oregon governor's race here because I think we've got an update with more counties reporting in here.
Oh, they're much closer
there
now.
we go. So really within, 1.4% there, 1.5% there. Tina Kotek in the lead, Betsy Johnson in the single digits. But as you mentioned, Rebecca, she is on the board here. Sushila, as you see this race sort of pan out in early results, with the two this close, I mean, we knew in polls for the last, month, 2 months, they've really been neck and neck within the margin or error. Sort of what are your thoughts as somebody who's endorsed Tina Kotek as you see that this is that close, at least this early in the night?
I think it's not a surprise. We knew it was close, as you said, from the polls. We knew it was close. And we can't, or I can't tell from the returns here where those votes are coming from. We also know that Multnomah County is always late, that our voters vote at the very last minute, and that is a stronghold for Tina Kotek. So, I think that, like you, I am just watching and saying there's a lot more to come.
I'm just looking here county by county in this race on the Secretary of State's website here to kind of figure out the breakdown here. Clackamas has reported in 93,000 votes total. Drazen 46%, Kotek 43%. That is in Clackamas alone. So we did have some data from them. Just scrolling down to Multnomah County here. There's a long list to go before we get to the M's here. Multnomah, 189,000 votes in, 70% breaking for Tina Kotek, Christine Drazen 21%. Again, that's in the early vote there as we see that. Let's see if Washington has reported 141,000 votes, 54 of those for Kotek, then Christine Drazen.
David, I'm going to jump in because
Yep.
we're going to take a brief break here on my streaming here on KGW.com and KGW Plus, because we're going to go over and bring some results on KGW over the air. So if you'd like to check us out there, we will continue to show results here streaming, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
One of our interns, Ben Aboshi, is at the University of Alabama and did a lot of work on this, and he started the Grand High School Club. He's going to greet us from Alabama, but his mother, Laura Thalacker, and his brother, Jack Aboshi, who's done a lot of phone banking and everything else on this campaign. They're going to introduce, and then after that, we're going to have Malay Ramos come up and tell her story. She's been incredible. Story has been part of the heart of this campaign, people's real stories, and you're going to hear hers in a few minutes. So, Malay, if you'd be ready to come up after Ben gives the greeting.
So it's great to see everybody here tonight. This has been a long time coming. So Ben is at the University of Alabama as a freshman, but he founded Grant Students for Gun Law Reform and worked a lot with LEVO over the years, including the Youth Leadership Academy that LEVO put on for several years. And he just wanted to say a few words. Sorry, our technology is not better here, so hopefully this works.
Hello. Is the sound working?
Yeah.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thanks for all being here. This is really a tremendous occasion. You know, I've been working on this for a long time with Mark, who has started this whole movement, and wonderful people at Augustana and outside Augustana working on this issue. And you know, it's a big night. The main thing I'm feeling is a lot of gratitude. It's taken so many people to make this possible. In my student club, I'm thinking about the students who have gathered signatures, you know, on street corners, going up to people with their clipboards, all the volunteers who have done that really important canvassing work, the families, churchgoers, communities that have made this possible. And it's taken a lot of hard work, and it's taken a lot of time. We've been at this for a long time, but I'm really thankful for what's come out of it. This really shows the power of, community involvement, and you all know that. These are your own friends and family who are here with you, here to celebrate, here to be thankful for all that we've been able to accomplish, and it really is a time to celebrate. Thank you to the people at Augustana, Mark especially, who has really gotten this started, and had this vision and made it to where we are today. So thanks to all of you.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks. Okay.
Hi, I'm Malay Ramos. community organizer for Measure 114 and gun violence advocate for the gun survivors of the state of Oregon. I feel ease of pressure. I feel that I'm heard and that everyone is looking at these numbers here. We're looking at a lot of numbers. But let's not forget the list of the numbers of the list of 170 people last year in Oregon alone who have died to gun violence. We're here reading these numbers today and each number of human life. October 6th, 2021, 64. 64. My brother, 22 years old, Deshaun Mays, was the 64th homicide last year in Portland. He got shot 1 bullet in the heart at the Portland Marriott Waterfront Hotel. 1 bullet is all it took. I was holding him while he was bleeding out from his heart, trying to give him aid, trying to fix what I can't undo. A couple weeks ago, I got to speak at a business alliance meeting. The owner of the Marriott was there, the owner of the buildings. 13 members were there, 13 members who owned buildings in downtown Portland. I got to speak in front of them, especially the owner of the Marriott, where this has happened, saying that this is happening in your city, this is happening in your doors, and what's worse is this is happening right in front of your face, me telling you today. After a couple days of that meeting, Anthony, the communications director with Measure 114, said, "Malay, guess what? I have great news." He said, "What is it?" He said, 13 members voted yes to Measure 114, none opposed, which is rare. These numbers are being heard. And with Oregon, me seeing these numbers of Measure 114 and 55, I shed a tear because it's proving to me that Oregon is not dismissing Deshaun, is not dismissing the rest of the people who silenced in trauma, families who are devastated by gun violence every single day. Families are broken apart every single day and are never heard. And now Oregon is saying, we do hear you. We do hear you. We do hear you. So I just want to say thank you so much for everyone who even beyond me, like the IP17 volunteer supporters who have made 100,000 signatures in 10 days. That's amazing. I just want to give a hand to them because they're the knuckles behind this measure who outreached, who gave accurate information, who said we need to do something now and we must act now to save the lives today and for the rest of the days that follow. And this, Sean would be so proud that he had made such an impact in history for you, for your family, and for your brothers and sisters who have lost their life and are choosing to hear our voices, to make that change into tomorrow, to show us that we must do something about it right now. Because what we're doing right now with mainstream media of gun violence, of shedding that gold of having deaths and deaths and deaths every single day, to just sit around and do what? I can't sit around and join the injustice, because then I would just be joining the opposition side. And today, thank you so much for all of your support today. We made history. We made history with this measure. And thank you for everyone for passing a common sense measure. And let me say this, even though we are winning by such a great percentage, the fight is never over. So don't get discredited that we did it, we're done, we're great. What else? What else can we do? What else can we do to help fight the violence, save lives? Because the fight will never be over for gun violence. It will still happen every single day. But we can choose to act on what we can do, get involved, volunteer, and help fundraise for impactful measures like Measure 114. Thank you so much.
political strategist Rebecca Tweed, who supports Republican candidates, I think running 3 or 4 races right now across the state, city council state. We will, if we get to one of those, we'll talk about that, full disclosure. And of course, Multnomah County Commissioner Sushila Jayapal re-elected outright in May here. Congratulations on that. And you've endorsed several Democratic candidates, including Tina Kotek for governor here.
And we want to run through some congressional races and some of the results we have so far. And we're going to look at some of the races that have been called by the Oregonians. Suzanne Bonamici in the 1st District winning easily over Chris Mann.
Okay, let's look at number 2 here. No surprise here in the 2nd District, Eastern Central Southern Oregon. Cliff Bentz, Representative Cliff Bentz, a Republican, will go back for another term in Washington.
And in the 3rd District, Congressman Earl Blumenauer with 2/3 of the vote over Joanna Harbor, and I think she's run a couple of times before. I want to talk a little bit about Cliff Bentz is the only Republican congressional candidate that represents Oregon, but that could really change. Could really change. I know that Rebecca's very excited about that. So as we look at some of the other districts that we're going to go to, just keep that in mind. Now this is the 4th. Wow. Look at this. Okay.
Pierre DeFazio's, right?
Now,
former district.
Some of the national election monitors, yes, have said that this was leaning Democrat, and you really haven't heard a lot discussed about possibly the Republican winning in this race. Right now, though, it is even. Val Hoyle, the current labor commissioner, Alex Skarlatos has run twice before against Peter DeFazio, who's held this seat, and this is the first time he hasn't been on the ballot in this district since 1986. So this is an open seat. He's endorsed Val Hoyle, but Alex Skarlatos, of course, became famous thwarting a terrorist attack on a Paris train in 2015. He is an Oregon Guardsman, a former Oregon Guardsman, making his 3rd try at this race, and it looks very even, so we'll be keeping an eye on this race. What do you make of this one, Rebecca?
I mean, don't you think it's wonderful that we actually have some competitive campaigns, like Republican or Democrat, right? The fact that we haven't had congressional seats as part of a conversation for a long time, I think is really exciting. So, we have the Skarlatos and Val Hoyle race, which first time in 35 years. I mean, with DeFazio leaving, that's incredible. So that'll remain competitive.
Margin of 46 votes right now as we count. Can we just flip to the 5th and the 6th?
Yes.
Let's check these out. And as we talk about these, we should mention the districts have changed shape, the 4th, 5th, and the 6th is new because of the census and the redistricting, which Democrats ran. Tina Kotek, Andrea Salinas, here chairing that committee, to Republicans' chagrin here. And I mean, look at that, neck and neck, and 51 to 47. Okay, so we got 4% here. It's early in the night. But I was, thinking, wouldn't it be interesting if potentially she lost a race in a district that she helped create,
drew herself into,
right?
Which is part of the gossip.
We're thinking about tonight.
So we're going to possibly see another Republican join the delegation. Also, we know for sure another woman is going to join the delegation. Right now, Congresswoman Bonamici, the only woman in the delegation, but because the 5th District has 2 women running, we will definitely double the number of women that we have representing Oregon in the congressional delegation.
And I think, too, in the 5th, we're talking about either the first Latina member of the Oregon congressional delegation or the first LGBTQ member of the congressional delegation, which is like,
so I just wanted to give
people some new numbers across the board and across parties, something to celebrate, no matter who wins at this stage.
So we're looking at the
Oregon's making history.
Oregon
It's
Secretary
exciting,
of State
regardless of
which
who
has
wins
about
what. We're making history.
31% of the vote reporting, and right now, if I go down to, let's see, so as of 8:30 p.m., 31% of the votes had been counted, and for 114, we're at 50.98% yes, and 49.02% no. So it is close and trending, at least at the moment, we are winning. Now, if you look at the larger counties, such as, we'll take Deschutes, we're winning in Deschutes, 51% to 48%. If you go all the way down to Lane County, we don't have numbers for Lane County yet. Down to Multnomah County, where we are right here, we are trending at 75% yes and 24% no. And then if you go down to Washington County, we're at 62% yes and 37% no. There is still a lot of votes to count, but we are holding our own right now. All right. Oh, gosh, okay.
Honestly, I'm not gonna take my mask off because I just recovered from COVID. Of course, I got COVID right at the end of elections because I worked myself a little too hard, so maybe my immune system was down. But it was much needed because we gotta get this ballot passed because it means a lot to my community, and to have Black and brown people here speaking about this and saying that this is not a racist measure is huge, because it's not. There's no way that it could be, because the people that are voting against it are the racist people. I'm sorry. If you see my TikTok, it'd make a little bit more sense. My bad. But I just want to say that I appreciate everyone here that were volunteers for us and helped us get this passed, because it's going to get passed. Thank you so much. My name's Teal.
Good job. Thank you very much, everybody. My name is Anthony Johnson. I'm working as communications director on this campaign. It has been truly an honor to work on this campaign. This is the fourth statewide campaign measure that I have worked on, and I must say, just making the ballot was such a huge endeavor for a grassroots campaign like this. Just amazing political observers like myself that were paying attention to what was gathering signatures. Honestly, we did not think it was possible to make the ballot, but Lift Every Voice Oregon and this coalition did it. So please, a round of applause for the volunteers that collected the signatures, get this measure on the ballot. The chief petitioners that put their name on the line when you're the chief petitioner, which I have been 3 times on statewide measures. Personally, even though I truly believe in this measure, I was afraid to ever be a chief petitioner on a statewide measure that on gun reform. And these, Rabbi Kahana, Marilyn Keller, Reverend Knutson, are really brave fighters for putting their names on the ballot for this. And Ceasefire Oregon, Penny Akamoto, I know people like you have done such great work for decades for this cause. And when you put in decades of work of your blood, sweat, tears, your life, your soul in this measure, it is so, so stressful to have, this on the line. But I will say, from working on activist campaigns, working on political campaigns, winning some, losing some, even when you don't get enough votes on a measure, you're victorious by raising this issue, forming new coalitions, and you kind of set a floor for what kind of support you'll get next time, if there is needs to be a next time on the ballot. And this campaign already is a success, win or lose. I would rather be where we're at right now than the opposition, both morally and politically, with the votes that are left out. But no matter what happens, everybody here, every supporter, everybody that worked on this campaign has so much to be proud for. I'm so proud of so many people. And yeah, Teal and other campaign workers got COVID working themselves to death. And it's just been, volunteers out there knocking on doors, gathering signatures in the rain, the elements, putting up with online comments, putting up with rhetoric that was untrue, having to combat propaganda. It's really been a huge effort. I got to give a shout out to Liz McKenna over here, who put in so much work writing this measure, handling the explanatory statement. All that is a lot of work. I've been there on other issues, and so on this issue, it's been a real pleasure working with everyone. And once again, win, lose, or tonight, or with a very good chance of we'll have to wait and see for the late ballots coming in. I'd rather be where we're at, and I'm really proud of everybody. It's been a victory no matter what happens. Thank you, everybody.
It's painful.
And we had to wait a long time before we found out that Kurt Schrader had lost the first time an incumbent has lost for 42 years in the primary. And we'll talk more about that 5th district race later, but we want to show you the latest numbers we have for governor. And we've got just a little bit more, 45.5% for Tina Kotek, 44.6% for Christine Drazen. So this is a lot like the polling numbers we've seen.
And what is it? I'm just doing math in my head here, but that looks like, what, about 1 million votes, something like that, give or take. We know there are about 3 million registered voters in Oregon. Turnout generally in a midterm about 70%. So you're looking at maybe a little under half the total vote here, which is why we keep saying
good math
it's
for
early,
a journalist.
Right?
I'm really
thank you so much. The person who got 1 signature and the person who got, 1,000 is fantastic. But there are a few people that were missed, and 2 of them are
Joe Paterno. Get in here, Joe.
and Janie.
Hey, Joe, come on up. Come on up. It's Aloha Joe time. These are the 2 people that held this thing together. They worked harder than any 2 volunteers. They're wonderful people. These are the people that inspired me. So Joe, I took off for Europe in April. Was it April? Yeah, it was April. And I came down to the office, and it was pretty bleak. It was Joe and me and nobody else. And he says, well, let's go down to the post office. We're going to get this big bunch of ballots, big bunch of signatures that come in. And we went down, and there weren't many signatures. And he went, this is pretty great. We got 50 signatures here. This is great. And this was his attitude from the start, and Janie's attitude. 4.5 years we worked together. These people are the stars. They're the glue that held this thing together. Yeah.
Thanks, Chuck. Really appreciate that. But the glue that has brought this together is every one of you. The relationships that we've created with all of you have been the joy of our lives. Really, no matter what happens with this measure, we always say it's the people that we've met and created these relationships that has brought us on this journey. It's a great journey. And we're going to continue this journey no matter what. We feel like we're going to win tonight. And we've already, but let me just say that we've already won by being here and being this strong, cohesive group. We have to keep this fight up no matter what, and we will continue. So thank each and every one of you. You are the people that have made this happen. Thank you.
All of you.
The list could go on and on, including the whole Eugene crowd.
Hey, let's stand up.
Tom and Jim and other folks, they didn't, and Niles and everyone.
Lane County hasn't reported yet, but we've got some good vibes. And Shannon, too.
The Shannons.
Yeah, we have good vibes coming in from Lane County because that's where it's all green.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's Simone. And Simone, she is the glue who just held everything together. Nothing could faze her. I mean, I know she said she has hotel industry stuff and she had to deal with a lot of rude people. Nothing fazed her. She just, oh yeah, I can do it. I can do it. And she did it. And also our campaign manager, Ilana, was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Stand up.
Stand up. Okay, I've got one more person, and that's the divine Penny Okamoto.
Yes.
And there's push and pull and people disagreeing, and I want Penny on my side in a fight. Stand up. You're just great.
Yeah.
And pass.
Okay.
One more. I've got one more. One more. This is Liz McKenna.
No, you already introduced me. And this is Chuck Mitchell. And we were involved in putting this together as, non-lawyers, just kind of writing it as the legislative team. But
Yeah, we were advocates. We weren't real lawyers. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it could
Thank you
go
so
on
much.
and on.
We
if
could go
there's-
on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
So there's an open microphone, and here I am. I want to thank Liz. I want to make sure we thank the Shannons. Yes, hon?
We also should.
So, right here.
No. Well, I also think, we did the first part and got the signatures, and then we said, what next? Now the hard part, now the easy part, right? And of course,
No, we never said that.
we had the coalition, and I don't know who all is here from the coalition, but Caroline Fitchett and Anthony was up here, and Malay and Teal and I don't know who else is here from the Tom Wheatley, and all kinds of folks, and unions, and people, you know, the OEA, the Nurses Association, and national groups like Everytown and Giffords all came together and helped us, and we all worked together, and it was beautiful. And that really got us through this second part to the point where people have now voted for it, and now it's up to the people of Oregon, quite frankly. We've done, I think, all we can do and more. And so I'm excited and nervous, and I'm gonna be here till they shut down the polls tonight, so, but we're gonna do it. Thank you very much.
People don't really know what happened behind the scenes. A lot of the times, people have no idea how generous some of the people here were with their time and their money. Liz McKenna, Jim Jagger over there, Chuck Mitchell, they basically wrote this, and they did a beautiful job at it, and I'm always going to remember that I was in the room where it happened. And so they did a lot more than they accept credit for. So I hope you thank them. I'll always remember when Mark called me up, Mark Knutson, he calls me up right after Parkland. He's like, Penny, we're going to put a measure on the ballot. I'm like, Mark, it's February. He's like, we're going to do it. And this is where we're at now from that. But one of the things I want to remind people of, because I do think we are going to win this tonight, I actually don't think we're going to win this tonight. I'm confident we're going to win this tonight. But I want to make sure that people understand what else has happened here over these last 4 years since 2018, some of the things that are really important. And it's important to remember that tonight, Oregon is setting an example for the rest of the country about, yes. Yes, we are. You bet we are, yes. So Oregon is setting an example for the entire nation. And we are sending a clear message. The people of this country can and will change laws through initiative petitions and ballot measures when legislators will not. We the people, we are not beholden to the gun lobby. We are not afraid of the gun lobby. We're not afraid of losing our seats. We the people are not standing idly by while weak gun laws and the ruthless gun lobby turn a blind eye to the bloodshed all around us. So I hope that you have an idea of how much it means to have gotten this far in the state of Oregon on this measure, and that it's thanks to all of you who are doing this, and so many people whose names are not going to get mentioned here tonight who really deserve it. Because this measure moving through is because of the volunteers who came through, the volunteers who did this, the people of Oregon. So my thanks to all of you. Thanks.
Hi, y'all. My name's Ilana. I have had such an honor working with many of you, getting to know many of you over the last couple of months. When I came into this campaign, we had a team of volunteers who had gotten us here and were working like full-time staff. It has been amazing seeing the commitment to this work. I want to give you all just a quick update on where the numbers are because we have gotten our second round of results in tonight. We are still probably going to have 1 or 2 more rounds tonight, and we will not know a lot of the counties until tomorrow. But as of just a few minutes ago, we were at 51%, 49%, still up. There are a number of counties that haven't reported yet. We have not heard anything yet from Clackamas County. Not so great for us, but we also have not heard anything yet from Lane County, which is a really good spot for us. We have not heard anything yet from a couple of the smaller conservative counties or from Yamhill County, but we also know that there are a lot more votes to count from Multnomah County. There's a lot more to learn. My hope is that when we leave here tonight, we are still up, but my guess is that we are not going to know yet where we're going to land. Clackamas County is not going to have full results in until tomorrow night, so it's going to be a bit of a nail biter for a little while. But we know that we have people who came into this because they had been motivated to action. We know that you all motivated other Oregonians to action. We are up right now. We have reason to celebrate. We have built something huge. We have reason to celebrate that. And we will continue to watch those county results come in and keep you all updated on where we're at and what we expect to see next throughout the evening. So thank you all for being here. And let's keep watching those polls and keep seeing ourselves on the yes side of those votes. Thank you.
Folks, I just want to say one more time, thank you once again for joining us here for this night. My initial thought was based on the line from The Matrix when Tank is talking to Neo and he says, you know, if the war was over tomorrow, the party would be in Zion. So consider this Zion tonight, and we are the last bastion of human common sense and courtesy and civility. And I just want to thank you all for being here and joining us here tonight. So I was thinking about trying to do Prince's 1999, but I don't think that's very appropriate. So we'll do another song for you. This is from Ben E. King. It's called Stand By Me.
when the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we see. Oh, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Oh, darling, stand. Would you stand by me? When the sky that we look upon, should crumble and fall, oh, and the mountains tumble right down into the sea. Oh, I won't cry, no, I won't shed one tear, just as long as you stand by me. Whenever I'm in trouble, would you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, darling, stand. Would you stand by me? Yeah. Oh, would you stand by me? Stand by me, oh my darling, stand. Hey, would you stand by me, stand by me. Just as long as you come, stand right by me. Whenever I'm in trouble, would you stand by me? Oh, my darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand, darling, please stand by me. Yeah. Will you stand by me? Come on,
Austin, Brent Follis. Woo.
And Chief Petitioner Marilyn Keller, Jazz Hall of Famer. And I want to say there are people around the world who have come into this tonight because this is being live streamed all over Oregon, but all over the world. And Marilyn was touring in a number of countries. I know they're all tuned in tonight as well. They're saying, about time, America, you started to wake up, right? And so Marilyn Keller, again, the design of this campaign was very intentional to be the most diverse campaign this state has seen, to be volunteer-driven, to be youth-driven. And there's a third piece to this that was very important. In Oregon, people don't realize the faith communities work very closely together, right, Rabbi? Since 2000 or 9/11, before that. But we have celebrated, and it's unique in the country in many ways, the Jews, Muslims, Native American spiritual leaders, Christians, Sikhs, Hindus, Buddhists, other people of faith and people of just goodwill would work together for the common good, for the beloved community Dr. King spoke about. And so the design of this campaign was not by accident. To ask a prominent rabbi in the country, to ask First Reverend Alcina Boozer, one of the most beloved pastors in the state, former principal of Jefferson High School, to be chief petitioners, to ask Iman Najib to be our treasurer, to show the state that we as people of faith are not about judging others. We're about weaving community, and that's out of love. And so I'm going to stop there. I just want to be sure and get a little preamble because the national news is very interested in that aspect, and that we take on the biggest pandemic besides the other one we just have been going through, COVID-19, together. It's not about us. So Rabbi Michael Kahana, by no mistake, was asked to be one of the chief petitioners. He is a brave man because to be a chief petitioner means you have to be willing to accept threats. Not just against you, but against your community that you lead. And that's bold leadership. So I want to hear, just again, a thank you. Rabbi Michael Z. Kahana. My brother. Come on.
Can I get an amen from the church? You know, Pastor Knudsen is giving a lot of appreciation to everyone else around here, but none of this would have happened without Pastor Knudsen. Let's give it, really. It was in this church several years ago that a number of these interfaith leaders that he was talking about a minute ago, we came together to cry, to mourn yet another school shooting, yet another shopping mall, yet another mass murder in our state and in our country. We came together to hold each other, to say, this is wrong. This is not the way that we have to live. We've got to help each other through these difficult times. We have to find a pathway through the wilderness. And we did it over and over and over again. And finally, it was right here, and it was actually in the room across the way around the fire. Pastor Knudsen grabbed every religious leader he could find and brought us together and said, looking around to each of us, who wants to make a change? Who wants to make a difference? Who has had enough? No one's going to sit on their hands when someone tells you that. And so we came together. And so we said, you know, we don't have political skills. This isn't what we do. We may not know the details of the laws, but there are incredible people who can come alongside us and be our partners, who know the statistics, who know what's happening around the country. Some people like Penny Okamoto who have been in this battle for over 20 years. Without Penny, we would be wandering in the wilderness. And Liz McKenna and the legal team, who said, we've never written this kind of thing before, but we're going to ask the smartest people around. We're going to look at the best models. We're going to see what could save the most lives. And that's what they did. And that's what they wrote. You know, it's really weird watching this. I get the split screen effect over here. And watching these numbers go up and down and back and forth, and do people do this for a living? I don't know. I had a teacher who said, you know, on the one hand we do this, on the one hand we do this. You know, Jews are kind of used to doing this kind of back and forth all the time. And he said, and you know, on the side I sell Malox. I think we all need a little bit of Malox right now. We're a little seasick watching these numbers going back and forth. But you know, when you watch elections, and we've been through these campaigns, and you listen to these campaigns going on and on and on, most of the time you're talking about people's biographies. And you're talking about, you know, what have they done? Who are they? It's all about me, 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 me. Vote for me, I'm the best person, and the other person is an idiot. The language changes a little bit, but it's mostly that. And here we are, and we are not here because it's me, 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 me. We are here because it's you. Because you said enough is enough. Because you said we are not going to stand idly by while people are bleeding. We've heard these stories. We've cried together. And it's enough crying. We're done with crying. We are about action. We are about change. We are about to change this state. It might be a long night, but we're used to long marches. Some of us marched for 40 years before we got to the promised land. Some of us marched for hundreds of years and are still looking for the promised land. There's a lot of marching we need to do. And no matter what happens tonight, this is not the end of the journey. When we win, as we're going to, the work is still ahead of us. Because there's still going to be people who are going to say the status quo is enough. It's okay. We can put up with the kinds of death and destruction that we're seeing because it means we can sell more guns. It's a powerful force that we're up against. This is not a small battle. It's an ongoing war. Sadly, we have a lot of work ahead of us. But first, we're going to enjoy the victory. We're going to see what it means to be a light to the nations, to let the entire country see what we can do in Oregon. And let them know that they can do the same. They can change it. We don't have to live like this. We don't have to put up with this. We are not about me, me, me. We are not about our biographies. We're not about vote for me. We are about saving lives. Thank you to all the incredible volunteers. You know, a group of religious leaders sat around a fire and said, sure, count me in. But it would have meant nothing. It is really about the incredible volunteers who knocked on doors, who made phone calls, who sent texts, who told their friends, who told their neighbors, who said, join with me because we are not hopeless, because we are not idle people. We are going to make a change together. Thank you to all of you volunteers who've been absolutely incredible. Thank you to the young people who have been our inspiration all along. Thank you to everybody who's a part of this. We are going on to victory. We are going on to victory. We are going on to victory. Thank you.
As long as you're up, stay up for a moment. Stay standing, please. Rabbi, I should never follow you, but I'm just going to a few closing remarks. Then we can all go downstairs. Stay as long as you want. I think our insurance for a special event runs out at 11:59, but we're okay. None of you look too rowdy. But Rabbi Kahana, again, your leadership with the synagogue in so many ways is so powerful and so appreciated, and more to come. But look to your neighbor next to you and say, you are made in the image of God. And then look to somebody else, whether you know it or not, the same person even, and say, and aren't you beautiful? All right, all right. So just to close out tonight, again, to see the young leadership, we can say to the country, democracy is alive and well in Oregon. As young people stood out on corners with adults of all ages, 94-year-old working all the retirement homes, and he's at the latter end of life, but he's going to make it to see the victory. And then children, to see parents bringing their 17-month-old in one arm and 400 signatures in another to give to the Paternos and Simone and Ilana and all the volunteers was inspiring to see. That's democracy in action. And we're in a moment in this country where we need to claim who we are, the beauty of the human family. Our diversity is pure gift. And this is all part of a whole, as we all know. Wars between nations, shootings in our cities or rural areas, or people trying to pit one group against another, or say one is superior. That's not what our communities are about. That's not what our faith tradition is about. They're about love. And as that great leader in this country, a woman of faith, because I knew her pastor, Michelle Obama, would say, when they go low, we go high. And so we took a high road from the very beginning. I see Audrey sitting there, who helped to organize one of the Sabbaths 4 years ago. We went high, and always have. We did not want, as Dr. King would teach us, you all have his 6 principles on the back of your program. And it speaks about it's not another person we're going to hate. It may be the actions that get taken. But we're going to love that other person with agape love. So tonight, it's not going to be a victory over those who opposed us. No, it's going to be a victory for the children and youth of this state. I see a lot of people who had signs up as you drove around the city today. I see a couple there, the Scotts and others. You were out on behalf of the young people in this city, in this state. As the rabbi said a moment ago, and a lot of our other clergy friends couldn't make it because there are other things tonight. Some had to deal with some deaths in their congregations and other pieces, but they all send their support and their love. But we know together, when we stand on an ethic of love with a thing to take on one of the biggest challenges in this country, gun violence, and violence as a whole, you can make a difference. And so the nation will wake up in the morning, and they're going to see Oregon on the map, the only legislation of its kind in the country, moving forward to win on behalf of our children and youth. And so to all the volunteers, one more time, and to all the young people, thank you for what you've been about. We're going to go down, stay as late as you want. We got couches around the church you can nap on if you need to, and then get back up in the morning and see the results. But we're going to go forward. And let me say this finally, to the young leaders in particular. We had an 11-year-old, who wrote letters. Don't look to the halls of power for change. We often think, go to the Capitol. That's where the change will come from. No, there's good people serving. Believe me, we need good people elected. But most of the great movements begin in places that are totally unexpected. Miles Pendleton spoke earlier. Rabbi, you've been there, and others have been on civil rights pilgrimages. And whenever you go places, you want to know where the story began. And you go to Dexter Avenue, King Memorial Baptist Church. Right across the street is the big capital of Alabama. The first Confederate White House still up on that lawn. Jefferson Davis' statue still standing there. Unbelievable. And yet out of that little two-story church came a movement. Every great movement comes out of unexpected places. And when we think of the volunteers throughout the state, Devin, were you introduced at all? Devin Hughes from Oklahoma, who was one of our great in-depth statisticians, 31 years old, he's kicking it. Devin. But never underestimate what comes out of places when people gather with hope, faith, and love, and trusting in a human race where we can be better than we are, when we can make life better for those who are hurting, when we see our neighbor suffering or dying, we don't stand idly by, but we say, no, now is the time to act. Now is that Kairos moment. We think chronologically so often, this year we'll get this done, this year next. No, sometimes there's a moment in time where you're called upon to act, and you have done that, Oregon. You have done that as people of faith and goodwill. You knew this moment was the moment. 10 years ago, it couldn't have happened. 10 years in the future, it may not happen. If it doesn't tonight, it's going to happen tonight. So God bless all of you, and let us keep moving forward. I see Nathan LaRue, a young 7th grade leader, working on solar energy and the earth. Keep those movements going. Nothing is impossible when you come together with a spirit of faith and hope and love. Bless you all. Go downstairs, enjoy the evening. It's a good night tonight. It's going to be a great day in the morning. As Scripture says, Rabbi, weeping may tarry for the night, but joy cometh in the morning. Wake up to a good morning tomorrow. Thanks for being here tonight. We still have time downstairs. No rush. God bless.
I do think they should feel confident. They've run a great campaign. It's been a very competitive campaign, one that was more competitive than most people assumed it would be when we walked into it, and probably even out of here in the primary. And I think there will be thousands of votes more that come in for Dresden tonight. They give them some confidence.
Well, she really focused on the economy, on inflation, on reducing crime, on reducing homelessness. And a lot of people thought abortion rights might resonate more than it did. Do you think it did, Sushila?
You know, I do think it did. You saw her, I thought, towards the end of the campaign as she started to reach out to urban voters, and as Rebecca pointed out, she needs some number of those. Start to backpedal on statements that she'd made earlier about abortion. You know, she had stated that she would back religious exemptions, for example, but then walked that back and said that she would support the laws as they exist now. I think that abortion featured more prominently in Tina Kotek's campaign, and that makes sense because she really was reaching out to her base first and foremost. And so she needed to hit that abortion message hard, say, I am pro-choice. Oregon would stay pro-choice under my governorship.
I mean, and this is a conversation we're going to be having on the local level, the state level, and the national level, depending on where these results shake out. But, you know, stick around with us. We're going to flick some results across your screen here. Join our viewers who are watching NBC News for an update on all the key races in just a couple minutes here.